You gotta do it afraid. You gotta do it with the unknown. And you can't do this to God. Because I was released, I was holding on to clients because I was in an expired season. And being in an expired season, you hold other people up from getting what they're supposed to get. So when I release those clients, guess what? They're going to other people that need those clients. So my release is a blessing for someone else. So I'm holding up because I'm hoarding. And God is already making room for me spiritually in other areas of my life and gifting because I've served all my time here and I asked God for this. So how dare you be afraid when it show up and you want to hold on to something that you hoard and that's no longer yours. These people belong to somebody else in the next season. And you're overstaying because it's comfortable, because you got used to it, because this is how you've been living. Somebody in here is comfortable. Somebody in here is afraid. Somebody in here is doing this to God. And God is saying, I need to see more of you. And the only way you can prove yourself to me is by releasing back to me what is already mine, that I've already given to you. And I just need to see if I can trust you to give it back. Whoever this message is for, you got to go to God like this. Because you're giving everything back and you can take everything in. Good evening, everybody. It is your girl, Kai Smith and Dania Durden. We are your Trichology Collective. Tonight, we are coming live to you with so much information. It's a deep conversation. It's a conversation about accountability, mindset shift, and we want to have it with you. In case this is your first time joining me in this space tonight, this space, BTC Live, is designed to serve the beauty professional, to go higher, to challenge themselves, to expand their territory, to expand their thought process. All things growth in this space. But first, a little bit about me and why I'm qualified to come to you with this information. As you know, I refer to myself as your hair loss advocate. And if you didn't know, now you do know. So your hair loss advocate is very passionate about helping identify the unknown factors about their hair loss. But the founder of the American Academy of Hair and Scalp Diseases, Kai Smith, is passionate about helping her peers identify hair loss behind the chair, to support my peers with taking their clients to a new level in their beauty, health, and wellness. I am an author. I am the creator of our signature program, ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair, which is our introduction to trichology. It's an intensive 5-day course located in Houston, Texas. I am a wife, mother, and a lover of God, and just all about helping people to reach their higher selves. That's what I do. That's what I'm passionate about. And that's what I'm here for tonight. I have alongside me Dania Durden, who is a part of the Trichology Collective out of Atlanta, Georgia. Dania, give the people a little bit about yourself.
Hey y'all, so I'm Dania. I'm also known as the Hair and Scalp Detective. I work behind the chair as a hairstylist still, but I also help women uncover the root cause of their hair loss. So I like to say it's a partnership. When I partner with my clients, I help them to understand it's so much deeper than what we see with our naked eye. And then I also am graced to be able to be on the team where I can also share with my peers the things that I'm learning, the things that I'm doing behind the chair, and how I can help them grow based on me already being in the same space they were in, being educated in AHSD, also being an attendee of ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair, just being able to share the things that I am currently doing as I continue to grow, pouring back into my peers.
Good stuff. So tonight, we want you to share this broadcast out because we have so much to share with you. While you're sharing this out, I also want you to stay tuned to this public service announcement that we're getting ready to make right here. Let's go into it.
You're underserving your clients. Hey y'all, it's Dania, master cosmetologist, certified trichologist, and the owner of Salon Nia Sade Beauty and Hair Loss. And why did I say you're underserving your clients? Because one, you haven't attended ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair, where you get equipped with knowledge that I don't know anybody else in this industry is given. Two, You need to become a scalp microbiome specialist because you have no idea what you're seeing on your client's scalp, what the flakes are saying, what the excessive sebum means. You have no idea if they're thinning. You have no idea if they have hair loss. And 3, if you don't come to ID hair loss behind the chair, you're not only going to be underserving your clients, you're going to be underserving yourself, because that's the only place you can get certified to use the product line that we use to not only help your client's scalp and be able to educate them on what's happening, but to increase your bottom line. But you really don't understand why your client's scalp look the way they do, because you haven't sat with us and you haven't allowed us to pour into you and serve you the way that we do. Because it's not an expense, it's an investment. And visit bit.ly ID BTC5. I can't wait to see you and serve you.
You heard her. It's not an expense, it's an investment. And investments always have a return. So, how are you receiving your return? Because it's an investment. What's an expense is you not leveling up in the space of beauty and moving forward in the era that we're serving in. So, with that said, I want to hop into tonight's conversation, which I find quite interesting because I I have so many different experiences with having different conversations with clients, because serving clients globally brings a completely different perspective. To me, it's not just something that's happening in my region; it's something that's happening beyond the seas, because I serve women on so many different continents. And with that said, the story is the same across the board. They're being underserved. And the reason why they're being underserved in the area of hair loss or scalp maladies is because beauty professionals are not rising to their assignment. So I want to not just share my conversations with you tonight that I'm having with other stylists and other people who are losing their hair. I want Dania to come into the space and share one of her most recent conversations and how it made her feel that the client was left with no other solutions to their problem. So Dania, shed some light on this for us tonight.
First, I want to say just my first encounter with clients when it comes to hair loss, I already know that it's going to be a conversation where I'm going to have to educate them on starting to shift their mindset of what hair loss truly is. But in this conversation, um, I was speaking to the lady and she was sharing with me all the things that she was dealing with her hair loss, how she's been experiencing thinning, and excess shedding. And I asked her, "Have you received any treatment before?" And she said, the person I've been seeing for a certain amount of years has recommended I use certain products and use certain drops and those things." And I asked her, "Have you seen a difference?" And she said, "No." And she said, "But I know that means that it's something deeper." And it took me back to when I first realized what trichology was, even though I didn't have the in-depth knowledge that I have now. But it took me back to me literally Googling, why do people lose their hair? And I remember sitting saying, this is not what it is. It can't just be something as simple as, oh, it's just medications. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. And I was like, what is it though? Because if it was something so simple, so many people wouldn't be losing their hair. And in the conversation, I was able to break down with her how it sounds like it's something deeper going on with her physiology, and how if you've been using products for so long and you haven't even seen a response or you don't notice a difference, and then you also are not being evaluated. Your stylist can't even look at your scalp magnified to be able to educate you on what is happening. And it just hurt me because it's not that we don't have the ability to learn anymore, it's that we're choosing not to put ourselves in position to learn and be able to educate our clients on different things. Because what I realize is it's not only shifting the client's mindset, it's shifting the stylist mindset as well. Because you can't shift the client's mindset if the person that they're paying and they're going to for their services haven't shifted theirs. And even down to even when we were previously in clinicals this past weekend, just hearing one of the models say that the products that she was recommended to use to stop her hair loss from happening. And I feel like the biggest thing is we're still not ready to go deeper. We're not even not ready. We're not willing to go deeper because we want to stick in the creative realm when the creative realm is no longer by itself is no longer serving us. And I politely explained to the woman I was speaking to, and I said, I want to apologize because I understand that I have been in a space where I didn't know any better. I said, but I appreciate you seeking help and you actually going off the recommendation you received about me, even though you had no idea who I was. You just received a recommendation about me through somebody else that you know. And I said, but if you decide to work with me, I can be able to I am able to tell you if you can regrow your hair, but I also be able to educate you on the things that got you here, not just being able to educate you on topicals. I said now topical treatments have their place. I said but alone is not okay. I said because that's just like if everybody could use a topical, everybody would grow their hair back. I said but that's why so many people have not regrown their hair because it's more than just topical. I said it goes deeper. I said you have to really peel back the layers like an onion and be able to see where this started, how you got here, what things are happening in your day to day life now that are still contributing to your hair loss, and what we can do to not only change the way you take care of yourself, but change your mindset first in the way that you view how you take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And so, if I recall correctly, and correct me if I'm incorrect, but I believe you told me that the person that this client or prospective client that you were speaking with was actually already a certified trichologist.
That is what she shared with me. Yes.
And so, my concern is that we're not all made equal.
No.
Just like we're not all made equal as hairstylists, we're not all made equal as trichologists either. And I want to say this. This is coming out of my mouth. I don't like to make other people bear the brunt of the weight of the things that I say on my platform because I realize that I'm very vocal and I'm very disruptive in how I go about being vocal. Not disruptive in a negative way, but disruptive to shake you up to understand that this is not the norm. This is not the standard of our industry, and that we should always rise above so that we can meet the clients where they are. And so I'm very vocal and disruptive when I speak about the things that I think are improper, that should not be happening, that are actually contributors to what's happening with the customers. And when I heard in our conversation that the person that this woman was already seeing was a certified trichologist, and the only thing she was able to do was actually offer a topical solution, that disturbed me. Because where at in trichology are we learning that topicals should be the front runner in what it is that we do? And let me introduce you to this thought process, because anytime, and whether you are someone who's practicing trichology or if you are someone who is getting trichology practiced on them, topicals should never be the front runner. If a person is only able to offer you topicals and speak very little about how you got here and how they're going to take you from where you are to where you desire to be, which is a balanced body to grow hair, if you actually still have the potential to grow hair, or if you are a hair loss practitioner who is only talking to their clients about topicals, then you are missing the true essence of what being a trichologist is. And you, my friend, are only in this to make money, because trichology is not limited to what is on the scalp. Trichology is actually understanding how to map the body to understand how you got to this space. And if you don't understand how to map to know how to get to the destination of freedom from the inflammation that's causing this hair loss or this scalp malady, then you're in the way. You're in the way, because topical products alone will never resolve the issue. It may give you a false sense that things are okay, but we're only ever putting out a fire topically. We're not going within the body where it actually originated. And if you are a person who's only receiving topicals, I'm going to encourage you to run, because you are being underserved. And unfortunately, we are in a place where we do have some trichology programs that are pushing product first and lacing their programs with product, and then trying to front that, oh, this is a trichology program, but I really want you to buy my product. You want to come out of that kind of space, because when you put your eyes on what's actually happening externally, you should be able to go deeper to understand how to connect the dots, to understand how the person got here. And you can only go deeper by walking it backwards, going deeper into physiology to see why this thing has manifested itself outwardly. And if you're not being taught that, you're not being taught trichology. I don't know what you're being taught, because trichology is deeper than the hair and scalp maladies, the study of hair and scalp maladies. That might be where trichology started, but that's not where it ends. And that's one of the very reasons that when I first started practicing trichology, I was lost. Lost because I did not know how to talk to my clients about how they got there. No matter how robust of a protocol you provide to your client, if they do not understand what got them to the space, they're not going to be able to maintain what it is that you're trying to resolve, because they've never stopped or identified what actually caused the problem. And this is one of the main reasons why allopathic care has a difficult time with recoveries, maintaining recoveries, because their solutions are not driven to maintain. It's driven and they're created to deal with a symptom, and that surface is superficial, and we need to go beyond that. So Dania, i want to um I want to ask you, as far as this customer that
Mhm.
you were speaking with, were you able to onboard her as a customer? If so, what is going to be your end game, and where are you going to start with her? How are you going to actually build the trust with her, because she's already been somewhere where she's been failed, and she's saying, I know that what's been happening to me is not working. I know that there is something deeper than this. So actually, how do you win the trust of someone to get them to come along with your process after they've already been through a process?
So she actually has not committed yet. She told me she had to handle some other things, but she wants to get back to me. But for me, I still operate with, I lead with integrity first, right? So I like to meet the client where they are. So now I know she probably has trust issues going to a professional, because she's like, okay, what is going to be different with you? And what I would do is I would literally, before we even move forward with the process, I would have another conversation with her, just breaking down my process step by step. How I'm going to take a look at her scalp and evaluate that. How I'm going to take a look deeper into her whole lifestyle, her medications, her eating habits, her emotions, all of those things based on the conversation that we're going to have one on one in private. And then I'm going to also let her know how I'm going to dig deeper into that information based on the answer she gives me, based on what I understand to be true about what I've learned in AHSD about physiology and how all the things tie together, because you can't have one system out of balance and expect all the other systems to be working as they should. And just being able to educate her on how I got here, educating her on what what makes me want to be in the space and help my clients, because I stand behind the chair and I continue to see, these things happen, and how I'm continuing to have conversations and continuing to learn and grow within myself. How I didn't just stop because I got certified, how I'm continuing to read and just be able to have the option to onboard her and build that trust in the beginning. Because a lot of times my consultations are virtual. This is actually someone I would want to meet with in person, because I want her to be able to feel my energy. I want her to be able to feel the space. I want her to be able to feel comfortable, because I do understand that a lot of times doing things virtual is not for everybody. But even talking to her on that call, I felt like she would be someone I would want actually in my space, so that I can help her feel good about the decision she's making. Just like if I have a hairstyling client coming in, I want them to feel like they're at home. I want them to feel at ease, because at the end of the day, anytime that you go to someone, and just like hairstyling, you never really know, you have to build that trust. So I like to over communicate, because one thing I know is that I look at how I'm treated as a consumer when I go get my services. And one thing I can say is that you usually don't go to people for what they actually do. You go to them for who they are. And the one thing I can say about what she ended the call with me, she said, the way that you broke this down for me, I've never heard it. She said, but I also don't have any questions, because you shared with me so much in this conversation that I don't have any questions for you. I just need to get back to you because of what's going on in my life right now.
Oh, that's good. So you led with the objections.
Hmm.
You understood,
Because
and that's a marketing tactic. That when you understand how you serve, you understand who you are, and you understand that you bring value. You understand what a person might object to because of their trauma, their past experiences. You understand what those questions will be that will keep them from working with you. So when you understand that, because you understand the psychology of or the nature of your business, you already put together your presentation with the objections in mind so that the person's top questions are already answered without them having to ask a question, which also lets them understand that you had them in mind when you started this conversation. So I like that. Now I want to jump to something else because there were many conversations had during our clinical for the upcoming class that's preparing for functional certification. And we had an amazing time in that space over the last 2 days on Sunday and Monday. We just wrapped yesterday evening and it was phenomenal. We had a very, very busy clinical because there were so many people in there getting services through the academy to learn more about their hair loss. And everybody in that space, with the exception of probably one person, had hair loss upward 10 plus years in that space. And it's always interesting to see all of the things that they have done, whether they've self-diagnosed or whether they've actually gone into allopathic care and been diagnosed through dermatology, and then to see that they still have yet to get the solution that they need. And a lot of times I like to say, yes, Brittany, it was fire. A lot of the times I like to say that if a person doesn't understand how they're a contributing factor, whether it is to their demise or to their success, nothing will happen either way. And when we only give them, oh, you have hair loss and this is the kind of hair loss you have, and you don't understand how to fill in the gaps or how to connect the dots for them, then nothing's going to happen. You're not going to get them to stick with the protocol. Nothing's going to happen. And so this is how we end up with a bad name, because we don't know how to go deeper with the client. We don't know how to really serve them beyond what they can see on their scalp. And the service needs to be in their day-to-day lifestyle, because nobody is waking up deciding to be unhealthy. I say this all the time. No one woman that I have ever served has told me that, you know what, Kai, I wake up every single day and I try to figure out how I can work against my own physiology so that I can lose hair. I have never heard that in all the years that I've been serving women, that they want to work against their hair. Right. So with that said, this lets you know that they're oblivious to their participation in their hair loss. And if they're oblivious to that, your job, your number one job, is to bring them into the know, bring them into the light about themselves, bring them into awareness. And how can you bring them into awareness when you lack awareness about how you need to serve based on the problems that are in your chair or that will meet you in your chair? Which is one of the top reasons why you need to see us at ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair. That's where the conversation begins. It was an amazing time. So great to be able to serve those ladies who came in for service. Yes, Ebony, it absolutely was. And so in the space, we had women with, hair loss for over a decade, and it hasn't been because they've been sitting on their hands. They've been trying different things, but nothing has ever served them, because the one key factor that they didn't know was why it was happening. They knew it was happening, but they didn't know why it was happening. They didn't just turn a blind eye to it happening. They've actually tried to get themselves some help, but the help that they tried to get didn't serve them, because the person that was serving them was underserving them and underserving themselves, because they couldn't tell them why. Right. So in that space of clinical, they got the why. They got an understanding. They were very, very enlightened to learn how the choices that they've been making in their lives has actually been working against them. And the crazy part is some of the decisions that they had made were conscious decisions, thinking that they were healthy decisions to be in health. And it's exactly what was working against them. So people, this is what we're dealing with out here. People aren't trying to be unhealthy. We've just never been taught how to be in health by the health professionals. So here we are as functional trichologists, standing in the gap, trying to help people get an understanding about how to be in health. And we cannot do it alone. So we are summoning you to come and join in on this movement so that it becomes easier for us to style the hair that we are so passionate about styling. Now, Jessica says clinicals was amazing. I mean, was awesome and life changing for the clients that received the full service. It was. And what she means by the full service is that topical therapies are optional when we're in clinical training. And so we actually do the consultation piece. And then if they desire, we walk them through and do the topical therapies as well. So we had our hands full in this clinical session, but it was phenomenal, phenomenal. Would you say meta is such a blessing when you understand the approach? Absolutely. And it's understanding their approach. I want to go to a commercial break real quick because I'm getting ready to switch reels. Hey, Mitch, I'm getting ready to switch reels. Still in alignment, but the conversation is going to kind of shift. And I really want to talk about this because this is something that was a revelation for me. As I sat at our clinical studies over the last 2 days, and I want to verbalize this. So we'll be right back. Share this out, and we're coming right back.
I always thought I was saying I didn't want to be a trichologist, but sitting in here made me realize that it's stuff that I needed to know to help the next person, to help myself.
I guess with the correction came direction, because I knew I needed to get a little more education in order to be able to help them the correct way.
I think that trichology takes some time to get. I said, but I want over here, so you need to call Kai. So now this is where I'm going.
This book, but your next level is the American Academy of Hair and Scalp Diseases. It isn't this book, because what I have for you in AHSD, this book can help.
Once you get into it, you're gonna want more and more and more. So, like I said, this is my 4th time here. I think I said on my 2nd visit, I don't feel like I ever need to miss an ID.
And you haven't since you've been here.
I haven't missed the ID since I've been in the
You know, so you just exercising, you giving us that on-the-job training. So I'm thankful for that.
Strength comes from your creator. So I need you to shift that strength. And it's the surrender. And it's the vulnerability. And vulnerability does not make you weak. Vulnerability makes you strong.
Hey, it's in the surrender. And what I'm asking you to do as a beauty professional is to surrender to the calling in the beauty industry today. It's not just about styling hair anymore. This is about being at the forefront of the number one problem that we are seeing, the pandemic that we're seeing across the globe, which is hair loss in men, women, and children. And you can no longer afford to turn a blind eye or a deaf ear. There are spaces for you to come and learn. There are spaces for you to come and grow. There are spaces for you to come and network with like-minded people to expand your business. Surrender to that. Your styling, it's needed, but if you have no canvas to style, cut, or color, what are you doing? You're going to work yourself out of a job not wanting to do trichology. And we're inviting you to get on board with this movement with us. So listen, Dania, when we were in the clinical training, do you remember me saying, like, that just hit me different? Like, this is something that I know because it's something that I've experienced, but it hit different when at that moment. And do you remember that moment when I was like, wow, this hit different?
I think I do.
Okay. So let me help you remember when we were talking about trichology trauma.
Yes.
Yeah. Trichology trauma. Somebody hashtag that because that's a thing. And I'm not talking about trichology trauma from the consumer perspective. I'm talking about trichology trauma from peer, from industry, from within the industry, from behind the scenes that we're experiencing. So many of us are trying to level up. So I'm not talking about the person that's not, thanks, Eb. I'm not talking about the beauty professional who's not trying to level up. That was the pre-conversation. That was before this. So that's why I said I'm switching reels now. Thanks, Meta. I'm talking about the professional who's like, I know I need this. I gotta have this. I want this. I want to serve on this level. This is what I do. It's calling me. I'm open. Put me in, coach, because I'm open. Right? That's the person I'm talking to. Trichology trauma. It hit me different because I am a product of trichology trauma, which is what forged me to create the courses that I have. But I never thought about it as being traumatized in the industry of trichology until Sunday. And when it hit me, I was like, wow, it was a conversation that took place behind the scenes that will remain private, but it prompted this thought in my mind, and it broke my heart, because for me, I'm like, I'm a victor over this. I made it. I'm doing the things that I want to do. I'm actually in the space helping people not to be, a product of the victim, of being victimized. That's what ID is about. That's what AHSD is about. But what about the person who's stuck in that trauma, who's afraid to trust? What about that hairstylist who's stuck in the trauma and who's afraid to trust? And rightfully so, because they've spent the money, they've invested in themselves. And when they came out, they didn't know what they should have been looking for. So they didn't know how to vet the right course. They only knew what they didn't have once they completed the course and tried to utilize what they had. And then they felt stuck. Trichology trauma. So then when Akai Smith and her wonderful program comes around with her wonderful team that teaches on a different level, they're afraid to take advantage of it because they think that we're the same as the trauma that is haunting them. They can't receive what they need because they can't get beyond the poor experiences that they've had in the past. And while I know it exists, trichology trauma, I did not think about it on this level until Sunday. It hit different, y'all. And it broke my heart, because when I come into my free webinars, when I come into ID, when I come into paid webinars, when I come into spaces where I'm ready to serve, and I understand completely the level that I need to serve on, because I understand the number one problem that my peer is having with the leveling up. So no matter what level you play with me on, I'm always going to serve you in the space where you need service, where you need support. But the feedback that I get always still breaks my heart, because we were in the Meatless webinar, which was a BTC domination free platform. And the information that I was giving for free was information that they didn't even receive when they paid for something. So people are paying for things because, one, people who are teaching these courses should still be students, because they got a little bit of something and then they're running with it and trying to teach it. And then they're clogging up the pipeline and putting people out there on the front line who are ill-equipped to do a job. You're causing trichology trauma. Or you are running with the old definition of what trichology is, the definition that I came into trichology under years ago. You're running with that, and you're still only able to give minoxidil and the dermatologist solutions to the issues that are being discovered on the client's scalp. And you're not really understanding how to connect the integumentary system with all other physiology to present to the client why they are actually experiencing this loss. That's the old way of doing trichology. Everything evolves. So on an evolved level, now trichology, from my perspective, should have always ever only been functional, which is whole body systems. Right? We're taking a whole body system approach to supporting our clients with understanding why they have scalp maladies, why they have hair fiber maladies, why they have issues with holding on to a hair strand in their follicle. But as a result of the dilapidated education that some people are providing, and then we have a whole bunch of missing pieces because people are teaching based on sound bites of information and not the whole. They're teaching on, fractions of information. And they're making little small mini courses around this, and then telling people that they're certified trichologists. And then they go out here and they underserve, or they go out here and they only push a product to support the client. That is causing trichology trauma. And it is showing up so big in the space that I get it all the time, no matter if I'm serving for free or if I'm serving on my highest paid program, which is AHSD, I have students who are a part of that program getting ready to certify who are actually doing full trichology certification programs over. Who has that kind of money and that kind of time to devote to doing a program completely over again? My program's 18 months. My program's $12,000. What program did you take prior to that? Was if it was a full trichology program, you at least stayed a year and you at least paid up $7,000-8,000 to do it. Who has that kind of time and money to invest, let alone who has the kind of energy, mental energy to unlearn all of the stuff that you've been taught that you learn now is wrong to then learn something new? That takes energy to untangle the old stuff that you were leading with when you know it wasn't serving you. Then you try to learn new things and you're trying to keep them separated so that you don't intertwine with the bad stuff that you got. That's the trichology trauma. And it's so unfair that we have to go through these things. But just like anything else, we have to have poor experiences, right? Because those poor experiences is actually what forges us to be who we need to be if we don't succumb to the frustration, right? It actually, because it's actually what pushed me, because I too had trichology trauma, right? But at the end of the day, we have to understand what it is that we need. And Dania, you often say, I'm so glad that I didn't have to have this experience and that God aligned me where I needed to be. Talk about that a little bit.
And I say that because my journey looking into hair loss started before I even started cosmetology school. I was 17 and had just graduated high school. I was already enrolled in cosmetology school, but the classes hadn't started yet. And because I went to a technical college, I had to take the English and the math and all of that. So I was going to be a semester in before I even stepped foot in a cosmetology program. And I just remember Googling and just being like, okay, I really want to learn this. I really want to look deeper in this, because if you've been following me for some time, you know that this journey started because of my sister's hair loss with her lupus. Mm-hmm. And I just remember saying, okay, God, I haven't even embarked on this journey fully yet. But if you allow me to get through cosmetology school, build a clientele, and you put me back in a place where I can invest in myself, I trust that you'll put me in the space with the right people. And I remember it was always in the back of my mind. I remember doing my clients' hair, just really not knowing what to tell them. And I remember one day being in a salon and someone was reading your book. And I was like, who is that? And she was like, it's my cousin. And I was like, really? And she showed me the title of the book. I looked you up and I was like, okay, I'm going to just pay attention to her. And then the opportunity came for me to meet you at a conference. And I knew I was in alignment with you because I walked up to you personally after your class ended, which is something that is totally outside of my comfort zone, or was outside of my comfort zone then. And I spoke to you, but I just kept following you. And I remember when the opportunity presented itself for ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair. I had never spent that much money on a class before, but I was not worried about what the money was, the money that I was spending. I was worried about God answering the prayer that I had prayed all those years ago, because I knew that the way that it happened and the way that it lined up, it had to be him, because otherwise I wouldn't have seen your cousin reading that book that day and been able to meet you in a year later in person. And I say that because usually in the program, most people that come in the program have already experienced trichology somewhere else. And it's to me a blessing that I don't have to unlearn, like you said. I don't have to go through that healing process through trichology to figure out what's right and what's not. I started with a clean slate, and you've been the one pouring into me and filling my cup with trichology and been able to educate me in the spaces that you teach. For the last 6 years, 7 years in almost.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. And these are the stories that make me smile. These are the stories that make me say, thank you, Lord, for my trauma. But thank you, Lord, that I didn't stay in the trauma, that I was able to activate and I was able to push past it to create spaces for people to feel safe, to grow, to know that they're getting whole information, and whole information, not just that just only serves them, but that also serves the person that they're assigned to, because that is ultimately what it is all about, which is one of the very reasons that I actually start the conference off, ID Hair Loss BTC. I start the conference off with psychology on how to come back home to yourself, how to actually go deeper within you to understand you, so that then you can lead with an understanding of self, so that you're not caught up or triggered by all of the other people's traumas that you're going to encounter. And I just remember us having this conversation at this past clinical, and what you said was so profound, and I'll just kind of give sound bites of that conversation. And when you responded to when this whole trichology trauma came from, really, when you responded and you said, I really want you, this is paraphrasing, I really want you to be able to heal that, because you have now found a space where you can come and learn from that is basically serving you and pouring into you, that you still show up to this space as though we are not giving you everything that you need, because that's a stain in that person's brain, and that is their experience, and you can't take anybody's experiences away from them, but you can show them how to overcome. And we show them how to overcome through the nurture of understanding who they are as who God has created you to be, which is what I so love about the assignment that God has given me, because that is my assignment before anything, helping people to understand who they are. I can do that because, oh boy, Jesus, it was such a battle in me understanding myself and understanding that it's me, it's not anybody else, that I can't point the finger this way. I have to take accountability for me and my actions and my thought processes and how I feel. And the way I move in that is going to determine my outcomes with others. Right. And if we understand that and how we serve in the space of trichology, that taking control of you and understanding you is going to determine your outcome with others. And someone might be saying, but that has nothing to do with trichology, Kai. Yes, it does. Because trichology, I liken trichology. When I was talking to Mitch the other night during our interview, I said, trichology to me is like the Holy Spirit. Trichology to me is like the Holy Spirit. And somebody is saying, Kai, what are you talking about? How could you be likening trichology to God, right? I do, because it's the God that dwells in me that brings forth that power, right? It brings forth that power because, hear me now, hear me closely when I break down this analogy to you. We can go right to Sunday. Every single person that was in that space, with the exception of one person, had hair loss upwards over a decade, right? Over a decade. This hair loss is plaguing them. This is darkness that resides in their cells that is hidden until they encounter a Kai Smith and AHSD that brings the light to shine light on that darkness, to reveal that darkness so that they can get their healing. And if that ain't the Holy Spirit, I don't know what is. If that ain't the Holy Spirit, I don't know what is. So for me, trichology is the Holy Spirit, because the women that I serve and the students that I serve are all in the space of darkness. The students are in a space of darkness with their trichology trauma, their experiences, their loss, and why they can't move forward, why they can't serve on a deeper level, why they can't get past, the experiences to really serve on the level that they should, or that they're called to serve on, right? Why they are so lost, why trichology is beating them down, because they feel like the science is so complex and they feel inferior to the science because they've heard other people's horror stories about how they started trichology, never finished, or they're still stabbing at it because of how inferior they felt in themselves to stand up to the complexities of trichology. Or the man, woman, or child experiencing the hair loss, and they've been everywhere, but they haven't had the spirit, the touch of the Holy Spirit through this trichology piece. They haven't had that. They haven't had that touch yet. They haven't had that light placed on them yet. And so based on how I teach in AHSD and in ID, I place the Holy Spirit on top of that thing that brings light, that exposes that darkness, so people can really get their healing in their cells, to really get their hair to grow organically. That's the Holy Spirit to me. Come on, give it to me, Dania. What you thinking?
So it's so funny you said that, because when I spoke to her and was responding to her statement, I was looking at her and I saw weight on her shoulders. And that's what made me, because I was sitting there like, people think healing just comes with, a person, a specific person, but healing comes in different experiences. So all I could see was, if she just forgive what happened, forgive herself for not feeling like she made the right decision, forgive herself for not, or feeling like she's not been able to perform, and allow herself to forgive the people that didn't serve her, and it allow us to pour into her, she'll be so ready to receive and so ready to serve on a different level. Because the way I remember the approach, what I was thinking about was how she continues to ask us questions. And it's like asking us questions like you feel like we're withholding something. And I feel like that's just her mechanism of trying to make sure she gets everything she came to get this time around. So she won't feel like she left with anything on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I feel like healing is for anybody in any situation. But I truly feel like the healing takes place in the students, because once they start to heal themselves, they can start to heal the people that they interact with and come in contact with, and they can help them on their journeys through trichology.
Yeah. That's good. This excites me, girl. Let's go to commercial real quick and let the people let this sink in, because this is heavy but good. So we're going to let this sink in. We're going to ask you to press the share button, because sharing is caring. And some people need to feel that light. I remember watching the movie Home, and I think it's Jennifer Lopez that says, "Feel the light." It's in one of her songs. Feel the light shining in the darkest of night. Feel the light shining in the darkest of night. And that's what we do at AHSD. We'll be right back.
She is a pioneer. She is a front runner.
Who you pouring into and who you need to pour into.
Lover of God. That's the giver.
You made it anyway. Focus on that, not the rest of the stuff. Because y'all gonna be brand new. You understand that? Are y'all with me? Pour into me, D. I don't want you to overflow. Pour into me. I still see clearly, but I still see what? Flaws. Something wrong with every single one of us. I'm standing here as a witness, something wrong with all of us. Something that we got to change. Point out to other people and nobody will. Pull back in. Picture of what you want in life is in front of you. Watch who pours inside of you. Because they may be getting served, but it may be getting drowned. And understand the rules of water.
That just give me chills listening.
So you know what that made me think about, right? How we talk about the real and how you purifying the water in different generations, because it's murky and people have been underserved in trichology, and their healing is taking place when they encounter Kai.
And not just Kai, my whole team, because Kai cannot do this alone. I'm going to just tell y'all that. Kai cannot do this alone. And I'm grateful that God has given me people like Dania to walk alongside with me. And we're all still getting our healing as we're serving. And matter of fact, on most occasions, I'm being healed as I help other people heal. It's a transformation that's taking places in both parties, because that is healing for my soul when I see what God has put in me to pour out, and I watch it transform the lives of the people that he has put before me. That heals me also. So it's not just a one-sided thing, and I can't do this by myself. So thank you, Dania, for saying yes to your calling and standing alongside me to share your gift, because you play a major role in what happens in the space of AHSD. And I'm grateful for that, because anything this good, I don't want to do it by myself. Don't want to do it by myself. Let's see. Diane says that's what God does. He leaves nothing on the table. He removes everything. And so Angela saying, yes, pouring the water, knowledge. My glass is becoming clearer. That's that right there. Like this one right here. This one, that's the project manager. That's Angela. Angela Dumas Reed. Y'all see her. That's This one right here, she's special. And it's not just her that I'm just saying, oh, she's the only one that's special. But what I'm saying is I recognize what God has put in her. I recognize what God has put in her. And I'm so grateful that He saw me fit to bring her and place her in the space for her to get her healing. He brought her to a safe space for her to come and get her healing. And y'all better watch out for this one right here. She's out of Augusta, Georgia. She's going to be doing some major things. The spirit of Angela is motherly. The spirit of Angela is comforting, but the spirit of Angela will check you in a minute when you ain't doing something right, but it's going to check you in love. And she's so giving. And so I'm just grateful that God placed her in the space of AHSD to come and get ready to revolutionize what she's about to put her hands to. Dania, what else you got for us on this subject? Did I miss anything?
I don't think you missed anything, but I think what I was thinking when you were talking about just the people who have went somewhere and they haven't received all they were supposed to receive, my message to them would be quit holding yourself back because of what you didn't get, and look and see the things that God is placing in front of you, showing you your next level, showing you your opportunity, showing you the spaces that you can be in, that you deserve to be served, and allow Him to lead you. Because in life, there are going to be things that we feel like knock us down. There are going to be things that we feel like push us back a few steps. But as long as you stand back up and you allow Him to lead you in the right direction and you follow Him, He'll always place you in the places where people are going to do right by you, going to serve you, and going to give you what you came to get so that you can go and serve the people that are connected to you.
Yes. I want to Lakeisha said he will open the doors for you. Absolutely, Lakeisha. And I love this one too. Lakeisha, she's been following me on social media from a distance. And now Lakeisha is actually like coming closer into my view inside of the tribe. And I love interacting with Lakeisha because she's a force to be reckoned with out of the New York area, and really giving her clients the education that they deserve, because she spends a lot of time educating herself. Prior to even coming up close with me and my tribe, she was already getting that education, and I admire that in Lakeisha. Alignment Matter, thank you for your safe space. I love this tribe. We love you back, Angela. We definitely love you back. She got the name Grandma because, of course, everything that I just described about her just gives you that grandma feeling, and that's a safe feeling for people to know that they're being cared for, that there's care and concern coming from the person. I want to share this with you. I want to share a webinar that I have coming up on July 29th. Do we have that ready to show? All right. So we have Digesting Healthy Hair, Mastering Gut and Scalp Health from Within. It's a 5-hour virtual masterclass on July 29th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And this webinar is fire. This webinar, I'm actually going to do something different than what I've done in the past. I typically don't send out a workbook. The only course that I create a workbook for is ID Hair Loss BTC. This one, I actually have a workbook because the information is so robust that I want to give you something to hold on to actually be able to refer back to when you're supporting your clients, trying to align what you see on the scalp with what's actually happening in the gut that you cannot see. So we're going to spend 5 hours really digging into gut health and how that aligns with what you see on the scalp, so that we can match those things and we can learn how to stop relying on our topical pieces and start understanding how to physiology map. So I'm going to work with physiology mapping in this space on this masterclass. Only physiology mapping of the gut. We will talk about some other pieces outside of the gut, but we won't dive deeply into it like we do in ID. But this one right here is for you. It's for you. This masterclass is $547 for you to come and spend 5 hours with me and my team as we educate you. Dania, you want to give them some insight on what they're going to learn in this space?
I think the biggest thing is you'll understand what your clients are showing up with. So a lot of times we're looking at our clients' hair, we're seeing their scalp, they have the flakes, they have, oiliness, they have all the things that you're trying your best to get off their scalp with just your shampoo. But you really don't understand that it's really what's on the tip of their fork. And it's really what's going on internally in their digestive system, in their gut, and it helps you connect to what you're seeing, because ultimately you can't change anything in somebody's body if you don't look deeper into what's going on with their lifestyle. You can give them the best protocol, you can give them the best topicals like we talked about, but if they don't change the way that they take care of themselves by one, eating, because we all know that the body was created to heal itself, and it really starts with what we put in it. So this class helps you understand that you cannot you cannot educate your clients blindly. It is literally you not being able to see it, because we don't see our clients we can't see their body internally. But what you can do is you can learn and educate yourself on what's happening internally, so that you can connect it with what's happening externally, so they can have a better understanding of the things that they could be doing and how they can really change their own patterns, and how they can change their own life and what's going on with them. And it's not all in your hands. So it's really you releasing yourself from feeling like it's your fault, because that's all the education is going to do, is educate you enough so that you can share with your clients that you cannot heal these things alone for them.
Yeah, that's real good. And understanding that what we're teaching in this course, it's basically the fundamentals of being a scalp microbiome specialist. You can't be a scalp microbiome specialist without understanding what's happening in the gastrointestinal system. You can't. And so if there's a course out there that you're taking that is just basically focused on the scalp, and you're calling yourself a scalp microbiome specialist, you've missed the biggest pieces of how to actually support your client with eradicating what you see on the scalp, because everything we do is about getting the body to do what it was created to do on its own, by eliminating the things that's obstructing that process. So we're teaching you how to go in to do a thorough investigation. We're teaching you how to respond to that investigation through the things that you're going to recommend that your clients stay away from and to do. Is heavy, is deep. And as Lakeisha said, because Lakeisha has actually taken this course because we ran it earlier in this year. And she's like, oh man, because when she took the course, they didn't get an actual workbook. So now I'm actually giving a workbook, something tangible for you to refer back to. So it'll be your mini Bible. You know, that Bible is thick and it's filled with all the books of the Bible. And that's what the ID book is. It's all the books of the Bible. And then this, Digesting Healthy Hair is just going to be one book of the Bible. So we're going to give it to you in increments so that you can break it down, absorb it, and you can utilize it. So you don't want to miss out on this. We're going to be, we're still accepting guests into this space up until the 22nd, because you have to give us time to send out your workbook so that you'll be prepared for us on the 29th. So if you want to enroll, go ahead and lock in your spot. I don't like taking in too many people in a space at one time, because I'm not driven by the numbers. I'm driven by the transformation that I'm making in that space. And so I like quality over quantity. So I'm not going to take too many people in that space, because this is heavy stuff for me to dissect for you. And it's easy for me to dissect it, but I need for you to digest it, because we're not what we eat. We are what we absorb. That is true of the gut, but it is also true in a learning space as well. You can go and be a hoarder of knowledge, but if you don't utilize the knowledge, then it can't activate for you. So my goal is to give you information that you can break down and absorb so that you can make that transformation. You can pour dense nutrient stuff into your clients so that you can get the transformation in them that you want as well. At the end of the day, I don't want you to delay. Get in there, reserve your spot so you can get your workbook and you can start being the change that you want your clients to see. They can see that through you. You're going to make me take the class so I can get the workbook. No, babe, you already coming to ID in October. So you're going to have all of the information you need because you've already taken this course. So the stuff isn't going to change in the course. It's just the fact that they're going to actually get a workbook of what I presented to you guys when you guys took the course. So Lakeisha, don't sign up for that course again because you already took it. So, and I'm not one that wants you to just keep spending the same, money with me to get the same thing. We elevate. So you got that. Now it's time for you to go to the next level and then the next level. So yeah, you got what you need. Just make your way to Houston in October, like you already signed up to do, Lakeisha. So listen, you guys, make sure you get your ticket for that masterclass because it's going to be fire. Dania, let's talk about what you have coming up because we're both going to be at Impulse Summit, right? In September. That's so doggone exciting because at Impulse Summit, I got a fire topic to talk to you guys about. We're going to be talking about transitioning from white coat to black coat. I'm sorry, from black coat to white coat. But Dania is actually debuting at Impulse Summit in September. So if you guys don't already have your ticket for Impulse Summit, we want you to run over to impulsesummit.com, and run and get your ticket because not just me and Dania, but so many other fantastic course specialists are going to be in the building educating. You're going to come get your whole entire life from spirituality to mental health to finances to all the stuff, right, for your transformation because it's about you. It's about us in this industry that has to serve on the front line for clients to be well, mind, body, spirit. And you can come and get refilled in that space. And Dania is going to be actually filling you up in the area of financing and budgeting. So go ahead, tell the people what you're doing, girl.
So I'll be sharing my personal strategies of how I manage my money. Growing up, I knew that my mom struggled to take care of us. So I would always try to think of ways that the money that I made braiding hair could stretch so I could help her. And I remember when I was getting out of cosmetology school and I said a prayer and I was like, God, if you put me in a space to be able to take care of myself, I promise I'll be a good steward of my money. So then I would write down in my notebook the money that I made and how I was going to use it. And I still have notebooks to this day about the things that I would write down, like I'm going to teach this to beauty professionals. I'm going to be able to show them my strategy. So I am finally showing my strategy in person, sharing with my beauty peers how we can master our money because we touch so much money and we're always, knowing that we'll make it again. But your thought process on how you handle your money is holding you back because in the end of the day, being a good steward over your money is really what brings you abundance. So I want to share with you my strategies. I'm releasing something very special that I've been working on at Impulse Summit. So if you're there, you'll be one of the first people to get access to it. But it's time for us to master our money. It's time for us to get a budget. It's time for us to pay the people that we owe. And it's time for us to live a life of abundance and stop living a life of lack.
That's good stuff. So I'm excited to be a part of this debut because we all have gifts. We were all created here and some of us have multiple gifts. So as you see, Dania is actually a part of the Trichology Collective, but she also is a part of herself. And there's another piece, another gifting in her that she needs to bring forth to serve in the space of beauty. How many of you are sitting on your gifts in the space of beauty? How many? Stop sitting on your gifts. Stop being afraid to be great. You got to be willing to take a chance on yourself. Bet on you. Bet on you. Success is laced with failure first because that's what's going to tell us what to do right. So with that said, I want to invite you to ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair, October 19th through the 23rd. It is a 5-day trichological incubator where we're going to be serving you first as the practitioner. We're going to be serving you with Joy, Dr. Joy K. Madison. She's going to be coming to you with psychology. We're going to be serving you with Micheline Barber. She's always into helping you shift your mindset. You just saw the powerful presentation, a clip of the powerful presentation that she brought to us at the last ID. Mitch has been a part of each ID this year, as well as last year. Let's see, October last year, she came in as a guest. She was actually a guest in the seat in February of 2023 because she wanted to come and learn from that space. Because even though you are a powerhouse, you are an influencer, you still have to have a space to learn. And Mitch chose to come sit in the seats of ID so that she can learn how to service her guests on a deeper level. So now she comes into the space with us, helping you shift your mindset. So I'm super excited for that. We have, of course, Dania Durden, who is our Scout microbiome and gut specialist. So don't wait for that, because that right there is fire. We have Jessica Davis, who is our trichological genius in the space of natural hair and locks. Like this girl right here, her education is fire. She's so knowledgeable. Me and Dania always say, we didn't even want to do locks, but when we hear her present, it's like, I want to do that too. No, we don't, but her education is so engaging that she makes you want to serve on this level doing that fabric of hair also. Man, we got Mr. Chris A. Bond. He's coming in with the branding and marketing. Man, this piece right here is huge, not just to you as building your cosmetology business, but huge because you're acquiring a new skill set to know how to make yourself stand apart as a hair loss first responder and a scalp microbiome specialist. We also have Marche Mayfield. Marche is coming to us with that financial literacy. Fire again. This is a tax and business strategist. We're going to show you how to make more money. And there's also a segment, with mapping your money, where I'm going to show you how to utilize the skills that you're learning through the 5-day intensive, how to leverage that to 6 additional figures, in your bank account. But Marche is going to prepare you in making those 6 figures and showing you how to set your business up, really setting you up to be accountable for the money you say you want to make, create a plan for that. She's also showing you how to protect yourself in the spaces of IRS, not to hide out and duck from them, but how to face them based on how much money you're making, so that you can be you can do things with integrity, if you will. So with that said, you can't just make the money. You got to know how to protect the money, and you got to know how to employ your dollars when you make that money. Now we have someone new coming into our space, which is Miss Tam Waters, hair loss and non-surgical hair replacement specialist. This is going to be fire. I felt like this was something that needs to be added to the space, because there are so many non-surgical hair replacement specialists out here who are oblivious to utilizing the microscope to see what's going on the scalp. We're using sometimes non-surgical hair replacement as a cover up for people who still have viable follicles on their scalp, and we're causing more harm than good to their scalp, and we're creating a more cicatricial scalp than what has to be. So Tam is going to come in. She's going to shed light on that from the perspective of a person dealing with alopecia, talking to you about the different techniques, the materials to use. And not just that, she's going to also talk to you about the benefits of aligning yourself with the government to be able to accept government contracts, and also to be able to bill insurance for this non-surgical hair replacement. So y'all don't want to miss it. It's going to be fire, 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 fire. So y'all want to make sure that you reserve your ticket for this space. We're going to be closing out registration at Impulse Summit, actually. So we will close that out September the 20, I think it's going to be the 22nd or the 23rd that we're going to close that out. I can't remember the end date for Impulse Summit, but you don't want to wait, because right now we actually still have a payment plan available for you. So you can get a 3-pay right now, then it'll be reduced to a 2-pay, and then it will just be a full payment. So catch it while it's on a 3-pay, because that 3-pay allows you to make one payment every 30 days for 3 consecutive months. And you don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out. I'm trying to tell you, there's nothing like experiencing it. You can hear what everybody says, but it hit different when it hits you with an experience. So meet us there October 19th to the 23rd. Also meet us at Impulse Summit in September, because that's a whole other event that's going to help you get your mind together so that you can elevate in the space of beauty as an entrepreneur. If you're interested in gut health and aligning with how to support your clients, not just from a topical level, and you want to move out of the space of relying on your back bar and then being disappointed every time you rely on your back bar, and you're looking to go deeper on the inside, then you want to join us for Digesting Healthy Hair. That's taking place this month, July 29th, for $547. All right. Now, we are getting ready to get out of here. Zania, is there anything that you want to leave the people with tonight?
Just remember, it's an investment, not an expense.
I think that's the perfect way to end. You guys have an amazing rest of your week. We love you, and we will see you next time. Good night.
Bye, y'all.
How you doing?
It's your part. It's your part. Claim it, cause y'all ain't gonna leave the same.
Lord, I'm in
I promise y'all. Promise y'all.
I have a mascara already. Tam, give me something.
Give it to her, Tim.
I'm done. You got it.
Hey, Britt, come on. Give it to the camera, girl.
Uh-oh.